Hello everyone. Today I will continue telling you the love story of Officer Lee and the poor girl Tu Sam. I hope you enjoy this video. After a few days of being tenderly cared for, Officer Lee's injuries had almost completely healed. On the first morning he could stand up without leaning on the bed. He looked down at his hands and smiled. It wasn't because his health had recovered, but because during that time he had clearly realized one thing. Tu Sam was the person he wanted to protect for the rest of his life. Tu Sam stepped out of the kitchen, still holding a cup of warm water. "You're up early? Does the wound still hurt?" her gentle, familiar voice asked. Lee looked at her for a long moment, as if trying to memorize every detail of her face. "It doesn't hurt anymore. Thanks to you," he replied with a rare smile at the corner of his lips. Tu Sam's cheeks turned pink as she set the cup on the table. "I only did what needed to be done." But to Lee it wasn't just what needed to be done. It was love. That afternoon, as he prepared to return to work, Lee stood before the mirror adjusting his uniform. His eyes were firmer than before. He knew going back meant danger, hardship, but strangely his heart felt lighter. Because now he had a reason to be strong. Tu Sam stood at the doorway watching him pin his badge to his chest. She didn't say a word, but her eyes were full of worry. Lee walked toward her and gently held her small hand. "Sam." His voice was low and warm, so sincere it made her heart pause. "Because you took care of me, I can stand here today. I know you worry about me. And I worry about you too." Tu Sam looked up, her eyes shimmering. "I just want you to come home safely every time you go on duty." Lee smiled, so warmly that it swept away her fear. "I want to do something for you. For everything you've done for me." He held her hand tighter. "I just want to know if you'll give me a chance." In that moment, Tu Sam's heart beat so fast she felt the whole room had gone still. She nodded softly, so small it could have been carried away by the wind, yet enough for Lee to see. And in his eyes, a spark of happiness appeared. That day, when Lee stepped out to return to work, Tu Sam sent him off with the faintest, yet most genuine smile. And in Lee's heart, his decision was already made. He would do something truly special, so she would know her feelings were never one-sided. After returning to his unit, Officer Lee carried out his duties as usual, but one thought lingered in his mind every day. "I need to do something meaningful. Something that will let Tu Sam feel my heart." Every evening after work, instead of going home immediately, he stopped by a small street near the place where they once walked together when they first met. There was a tiny craft shop that made paracord bracelets for hikers and forest rangers, durable, simple, and symbolic of protection. Lee looked at the colorful cords hanging on the wall, feeling a bit overwhelmed. "You want a custom bracelet?" the shop owner asked. Lee nodded, eyes landing on a roll of pale green cord. "This color. It looks like her eyes when she's worried about me." The owner smiled. "Then I'll help you make a special one, tied with survival knots. If the wearer is ever in danger, they can unravel it to use." Lee paused. "It symbolizes protection, right?" "Yes. And also a promise." Lee tightened his grip slightly. "That's perfect. I want to give her a promise." For nearly an hour, he tied each knot himself. The strong fingers of a trained officer trembled slightly, like a boy confessing his feelings for the first time. But he was patient, careful, focused, as if even one mistake would be unacceptable. At last, the bracelet was finished. The soft green of peace, the durable cord like his devotion, and the final knot symbolizing, "I will always return to you." He placed the bracelet into a small wooden box, lining it with a slip of paper on which he wrote, "If you worry for me, let me worry for you from now on. Lee." That evening, Lee brought the gift to Tu Sam's house. When she opened the door, he saw the expression he had grown familiar with. Some worry, some warmth, some anticipation. "You're back?" Sam asked softly. Lee nodded, and instead of stepping inside, he held out the wooden box. "For you," he said, voice low and sincere. "Not because you took care of me, but because I've wanted to do this for a long time." Tu Sam opened the box. When she saw the bracelet, her eyes widened, filling with tears. "This is a protection bracelet," Lee continued. "I made it myself. I want you to know. I don't want you to just wait for me to come back. I want to be the reason you feel safe." She covered her mouth, her shoulders trembling. Lee gently took her hand and slipped the bracelet onto her wrist. Sam, after I fell into that ravine, I thought, if I didn't wake up, the only thing I would regret is not telling you that. He paused, looking straight into her eyes. I like you. In that moment, too, Sam burst into tears, but they were tears of happiness. That afternoon, after too Sam received Lee's gift, the atmosphere between them grew lighter, yet carried a sweet, shy awkwardness. Lee glanced at his watch, then turned back to her. Sam, tonight I want to take you somewhere special. Could you change clothes and come with me? Too Sam blinked, surprised. Change clothes? Is what I'm wearing not okay? Lee shook his head, though his smile was soft and warm. It's fine, but I want you to try this. He opened the trunk of his car and took out a luxurious paper bag. Inside was a cream-colored dress. Elegant, gentle in style. Not too fancy but perfect for highlighting Sam's softness. You bought this for me? Sam asked, eyes widening as her hands trembled slightly. Lee nodded, his face calm though his ears had clearly turned red. I thought this color would suit you. Too Sam looked at the dress, hesitation flickering in her eyes. She had grown up wearing jeans, t-shirts, and the practical clothes needed for forest work. A new dress like this felt like something belonging to a world she had never dared to step into. But then she looked up and met Lee's gaze, patient, hopeful, and so gentle she couldn't bring herself to refuse. Then, I'll try it. A short while later, the changing room door opened. Too Sam stepped out, hands clasped nervously in front of her, cheeks flushed pink. The dress hugged her waist softly and flowed down in delicate layers. Her long hair was tied low, with a few strands falling around her face, making her look even more fragile. Do I look okay? Her voice barely rose above a whisper. Officer Lee went still. Not the kind of stillness from shock, but the kind where the heart skips a beat because the beauty before him was too gentle, too breathtaking. He looked at Sam from head to toe, then back into her slightly worried eyes. Warmth and pride bloomed in his chest. You look beautiful, he said, his voice dropping lower. So beautiful that I can't look away. Too Sam stiffened, her face turning an even deeper shade of red. Don't say things like that. It's embarrassing. Lee chuckled softly, stepping closer to adjust the strap of her dress. I mean it. You usually dress for work, but today, you look like something I'm scared to even touch. Sam lowered her head, her heart pounding wildly. When Lee brought her to the restaurant, she was stunned once more. It was an elegant European-style restaurant, the kind she had only seen on advertisements or signs from afar. A table had been reserved, candlelight flickered gently, the fragrance of wine lingered lightly in the air, and soft piano music filled the space. Lee, this place must be expensive, she whispered, afraid of disturbing the peace. Just sit, Lee said as he pulled out her chair. I'll take care of everything else. Too Sam bit her lip, overwhelmed by a mix of emotions, surprise, happiness, and disbelief that this moment was real. Lee looked at her. The candlelight reflected on her face, making her appear so tender that his heart tightened with emotion. Tonight, Lee said slowly, I want you to know that no matter where you come from, no matter who you think you are, you deserve to be cherished. Too Sam gently held the protective bracelet around her wrist, her eyes shimmering as if tears were about to fall, and she had never felt so loved. Dinner began with dishes that Too Sam had never seen in real life. Each time a server brought a plate to the table, Sam would pause slightly and look at Lee as if silently asking for instructions. Lee let out a soft laugh, his gentle gaze never leaving her. Just try a little at a time. Don't force yourself. If you don't like it, I'll order something else. Too Sam nodded, but her heart warmed deeply. Sometimes it isn't the luxurious food that moves a person. It's the person sitting across from them. She cut a tiny piece and lifted it to her lips. The flavor was soft, fragrant, so different from the simple meals she usually cooked at home. It's good, she whispered, her eyes lighting up like a child tasting something new for the first time. Seeing that reaction, Lee laughed again. I knew you would like it. Sam blushed, embarrassed. It's because I've never eaten anything like this before, so I feel a little shy. Lee shook his head gently. There's nothing to be shy about. As long as you enjoy it, that's enough. When dessert was served, The lights in the restaurant shifted to a warm golden hue. The atmosphere grew quieter, with only the piano and soft murmurs filling the space. Sam unconsciously placed one hand on the table, while the other gently touched the bracelet Lee had given her. Lee noticed the gesture and felt a wave of warmth in his chest. He reached out and placed his hand over hers. Sam startled slightly, wanting to pull back, but Lee held her just a little tighter, not forceful, only enough for her to feel his sincerity. Sam. His voice was low, deep, and warm, wrapping around her heart. I know you're worried because there are so many differences between us. My work is dangerous. Your life is quiet and simple. Sam lowered her face, her hand trembling slightly beneath his. Lee tightened his hold gently, comforting her. But I want you to understand something. Even when my world is chaotic, even when work is risky, the moment I see you, everything becomes peaceful. Sam lifted her eyes, shimmering with emotion. I never thought I was that special. Lee shook his head, gaze steady. Not special. Important. In that moment, Sam said nothing. She simply looked at him, her lips pressed together to hold back her feelings. Lee leaned forward slightly, his voice soft but earnest. Give me a chance to stay by your side. Not because you saved me, but because I truly want to walk this road with you. Sam inhaled slowly, her heart melting into the invisible embrace of his words. For the first time, she didn't avoid him. She closed her fingers around his hand. A small gesture, but enough to make Lee smile gently. I agree, she whispered, but clearly. That single sentence made Lee's entire world light up. They continued their meal in a tenderness neither had ever experienced before. And every time Sam shyly looked up, Lee met her gaze with an affection that made it obvious. His heart already belonged to her. That night became their very first date. Dinner ended in a warmth even softer than candlelight. When they stepped out of the restaurant, the night breeze carried the faint scent of milk flowers. Sam shivered slightly, and immediately, Lee took off his jacket and draped it over her shoulders. You're wearing a dress, you'll get cold, he murmured. Sam lowered her head, clutching the jacket with both hands. Thank you. Lee only smiled and gently opened the car door for her, an act so thoughtful that Sam felt her heart nearly fall out of place. Inside the quiet car, only the hum of the engine remained. The streetlights cast soft glows through the window, making Sam's face look gentler than ever. She leaned toward the window, fingers brushing the bracelet Lee had made. Her lips curved into a faint smile she didn't even notice herself. Lee glanced over, and seeing that expression made his chest tighten pleasantly. Sam, he called softly. Yes, she turned, her bright eyes reflecting the passing lights. You're smiling because of the bracelet? Lee teased lightly, though his gaze held nothing but tenderness. Sam blushed again, lowering her head. I just think it's beautiful. And meaningful. Lee didn't respond, but the corner of his mouth lifted in quiet joy. A small moment, yet enough to soften his entire heart. When the car stopped in front of her house, Sam unbuckled her seat belt with slightly trembling hands. Tonight had been filled with emotions, so many she didn't know where to begin. Thank you for dinner, she whispered. Lee rested one arm on the steering wheel, looking at her for a long moment before speaking. I want to take you to many more places. If you'll let me. Sam lowered her head, a soft smile appearing. I will. Lee's gaze warmed instantly, so deeply that Sam couldn't look straight at him for more than a second. The air between them slowed, as if they only needed to lean a little closer to touch. Sam placed her hand on the door handle to leave when Lee quietly called. Sam. She turned back. Their eyes locked in a fleeting moment that made her heart stumble. Lee leaned slightly toward her, not too close but enough for his warmth to brush the air around her. Thank you for choosing to stay by my side, he whispered, his voice soft enough to melt into her heartbeat. Sam froze. Her chest tightened so suddenly she had to grip her dress to steady herself. And for the first time, she didn't step back. Sam leaned in and placed a very light touch on his cheek. Not a kiss, just a thank you, and an acceptance of his feelings. Lee went still for 3 seconds. Then the corner of his lips lifted, a rare smile, genuine and so full of happiness that it made Sam blush as well. Good night, Sam, he said, his voice slightly husky. You too. she replied before turning away quickly, her heart pounding wildly. When she stepped out and the door closed, Lee remained seated, his fingers instinctively touching the cheek where she had brushed him. He let out a quiet laugh, a laugh overflowing with joy he couldn't hide. Tonight was our very first moment. Sam stepped inside the house, closing the door softly, as if afraid to break the warm, tender feeling still wrapped around her. The small room looked the same as always. Quiet, simple, yet tonight in her eyes, everything seemed a little brighter. She leaned her back against the door, one hand pressed to her chest, feeling her heartbeat pounding wildly, refusing to calm down. Just by closing her eyes, she could see it all again. Officer Lee's smile, the way his hand held hers, and that gentle touch on her cheek. All of it returning so vividly that her ears burned hot. "Oh my God, why did I do that?" she murmured, though the corner of her lips curved upward on their own. She walked into her bedroom and turned on the soft, warm light. Sitting on the edge of the bed, she removed the high heels, something she never imagined she would wear in her life. Every movement carried a bit of shyness, a bit of excitement, and above all happiness. Her gaze drifted to the protective bracelet on her wrist. The pale green cord glimmered under the lamp, gentle and peaceful, like the promise Lee had placed in her hands. Sam lifted the bracelet to her face, studying it carefully. Such a small thing, yet it warmed her heart so much it almost made her cry. "He really made this just for me," she whispered, her voice soft and trembling slightly. She lay down on the bed, pulling the blanket over herself, but sleep refused to come. Her fingers kept brushing over the bracelet, and a soft smile kept appearing on her lips no matter how hard she tried to hold it back. It had been so long since Sam felt like her heart was being carefully held in someone else's hands. She turned over, burying her face into the pillow, her cheeks heating up. A quiet confession slipped out, small but overflowing with joy. "Officer Lee, you really do like me." The thought made Sam let out a tiny laugh, a gentle smile she had never worn before. That night, she held the bracelet close to her chest, her heart melting like water. And for the first time in many years, Sam fell asleep feeling loved. While Sam was falling asleep with the bracelet held close to her heart, basking in happiness, Officer Lee had just arrived home. The moment he stepped inside, he couldn't hide the smile hanging on his lips. A soft, unmistakable smile that told anyone who saw him that something very good had happened today. Lee's older sister was sitting in the living room slicing fruit. She looked up when she heard the door open. With one glance at her brother's face, her brows drew together suspiciously. You just got off work?" she asked, though her eyes were fixed on the unfamiliar smile he was wearing. Lee walked in, hung up his jacket, trying to keep a straight face. "Yeah, I just got back." Owen crossed her arms and leaned back on the sofa, eyeing him from head to toe. "What's with that grin? Looks like someone just won the lottery. I haven't seen that face of yours in ages." Lee froze for a second, but the smile at the corner of his mouth refused to disappear. "I'm not smiling," he replied, though even he could hear how unusually soft his voice sounded. Owen burst out laughing. "Oh my God, who's making you blush like that? Or could it be?" She raised an eyebrow teasingly. "A date?" Lee fell silent, just for 1 second, but it was more than enough for his sister to catch on. "Aha! See, I knew it." Owen slapped the sofa. "I was right." Lee sighed, walking past her, though the smile was still sitting comfortably on his lips. "Stop teasing. It's not." "Not what?" "That smile is about to split your face open." Owen narrowed her eyes. "Tell me, who is she? What kind of girl can make you this happy?" Lee stopped, lowering his head slightly, a rare sight that made Owen's eyes widen. "Sam," he said quietly. Owen shot up from the sofa instantly, eyes round as grapes. "That girl who brought you home the other day? Oh my gosh, I knew it. I saw the way you two looked at each other." Lee turned away, unable to stop the small laugh escaping him. "Don't exaggerate." "Exaggerate? No, this is me celebrating for my little brother." Owen put her hands on her hips. "Honestly, since when have I ever seen you this happy?" Lee stayed silent for a moment. Then his expression softened. Today was a really special day. Hearing that, Owen's mischievous smile melted into something warm. "Then hold on to it, okay?" she said gently. That girl. She seems kind and genuine. Lee nodded, the smile returning, even deeper than before. I know. Owen laughed again. All right, go to your room, mister. I bet you'll be hugging your pillow and smiling all night. Lee headed to his room, not denying it, as she was right. He was so happy tonight. He doubted he'd be able to sleep at all.
Xin chào mọi người, rất vui được gặp lại mọi người trong video hôm nay của mình. Cảm ơn mọi người đã xem hết video hôm nay. Và hiện tại thì mình đang quay 1 phút chia sẻ cuối mỗi video. Hy vọng những chia sẻ của mình sẽ giúp mình và mọi người gắn bó lâu hơn. Và câu chuyện hôm nay mình kể về Tử Sam. Sau khi bị thương thì Tử Sam đã chăm sóc cảnh sát Lee rất là chu đáo. Và sau đó, để cảm ơn Tử Sam thì cảnh sát Lee đã chuẩn bị cho Tử Sam một món quà bất ngờ và một cuộc hẹn hò đầy lãng mạn. Hai người sẽ đi về đâu và cuộc sống của Tử Sam sẽ bắt đầu như thế nào cùng với cảnh sát Lee thì mời mọi người cùng đón xem ở những video tiếp theo nha. Cảm ơn mọi người đã xem hết video của mình và ủng hộ kênh của mình trong suốt thời gian vừa qua. Hẹn gặp lại mọi người ở video lần sau nhé.